Welcome to Hired in IT. Our mission is simple: help you build the skills that employers actually want. Whether you're trying to land your first IT job, switch careers, earn a promotion, or increase your salary, we're here to help. Every video is thoroughly researched and designed to make complex IT topics easy to understand. If there's an IT topic you'd like us to cover, leave a comment below. We may turn your suggestion into our next video. Turning IT knowledge into career opportunities. Sarah stares at her laptop, coffee going cold. 2 hours to write one client email. 2 hours. Tomorrow, she'll do it in 4 minutes. Not because she hired someone, because she learned to structure a prompt like an assignment. That's prompt engineering. Not just using AI, it's directing it. This is part 1 of the Prompt Engineering Masterclass. You're about to turn every vague AI question you type into a precise, production-ready assignment. By the end of this video, you'll be able to define prompt engineering and spot the difference between casual AI use and actual directed prompting. You'll understand why enterprises are racing to integrate generative AI and how that turns this skill into a career accelerator. And you'll know the craft framework, context, role, action, format, and tone, the 5 building blocks of any killer prompt. This is part 1 of a masterclass series that takes you from beginner to AI whisperer. One side is a question, the other is an assignment. Type, "Explain cloud computing," and you get a generic paragraph. But add context, role, action, format, tone, and suddenly the output is ready for a CEO. That's the power of prompt engineering with the craft framework. So how does an AI actually understand what you type? Here's the surprising answer. It doesn't understand language the way humans do. Large language models predict the next most likely piece of text, called a token, based on everything that came before it. Think about asking someone for directions. If you simply say, "Take me somewhere nice," they'll probably hesitate because the request is vague. But if you say, "Take me to a quiet Italian restaurant within 15 minutes that costs under $50, the destination becomes much clearer. AI works the same way. Every word you add changes the probabilities of what comes next. That's why prompt engineering isn't just writing better questions. It's guiding the model toward the answer you actually want. When people say AI is smart, what they're really seeing is the result of billions of statistical predictions happening almost instantly. Your prompt is the steering wheel. The clearer the instructions, the better the destination. Before we go any further, there's one concept every prompt engineer needs to understand: tokens. A token is a small piece of text that an AI model processes. It might be a word, part of a word, punctuation, or even a number. When you send a prompt, your prompt is converted into tokens. The model then generates its response 1 token at a time. Why does this matter? Because tokens affect 3 important things. First, cost. Most commercial AI services charge based on the number of input and output tokens. Second, speed. Longer prompts require more processing time. Third, memory. Every AI model has a context window, which is simply the maximum number of tokens it can remember during a conversation. Professional prompt engineers don't just write better prompts. They also write efficient prompts. The goal isn't to use more words. The goal is to use the right words. In 2023, only a small fraction of enterprises were tapping into generative AI APIs, the programmatic interfaces that let businesses directly access models like GPT-4 for real production workloads. But by 2026, Gartner predicts that over 80% of enterprises will be using generative AI APIs or deploying AI models in some form. That's a massive shift. And every one of those AI touchpoints needs someone who knows how to talk to the model. The demand for people who can design and refine prompts isn't just growing. It's exploding across every department you can think of. Quick check. What did you just learn? Meet craft. The 5 elements: context, role, action, format, and often tone that turn a wish into a precise instruction. Context sets the stage. Role defines who's speaking. Action says exactly what to do. Format tells the AI how to package the output. And tone controls the personality. This framework works with today's major models like GPT-4, Claude, and Gemini, and is one of the most reliable ways to turn fluff into actionable output. Poor prompt. Summarize this regulation. Good prompt. You are reviewing a 20-page SEC regulation on climate disclosures. Summarize the key reporting requirements for quarterly filings, focusing on Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions. Context narrows the field of view. It tells the AI what document it's dealing with, what's important, and what to ignore. Without it, you get a generic summary that might miss the exact rule your analyst needs. Leading the prompt with context is the step most beginners skip, and it's the cheapest way to dramatically improve accuracy. No role. Explain tax deductions. With role, act as a senior tax accountant. Explain common small business tax deductions for 2026, citing IRS guidelines. When you assign a role, the AI often adopts a more specific vocabulary and focuses on the details that matter for that persona. You're not just asking a chatbot, you're hiring a specialist for those 3 seconds it takes to generate. That can be the difference between useless and boardroom ready. Action is where most prompts fall apart. If you say, write something about cloud costs, the AI has no idea if you want a tweet, a white paper, or a haiku. Instead, list the top 5 Azure cost optimization strategies with 1-paragraph explanations and real-world examples. The action verb, list, and the constraints, 5 strategies, 1 paragraph each, eliminate ambiguity. You stop getting answers that dance around the topic and start getting answers you can act on. And when you specify the output format like JSON, a lightweight, human-readable data format that machines can easily process, you're telling the AI exactly how to package the answer for ease of use. The F in craft is format. You've given context, assigned a role, defined the action. Now tell the AI exactly how to package the answer. Without a format instruction, you'll get a wall of text every time. With it, you can ask for a JSON array, a markdown table, or bullet points. Notice the highlighted line. It specifies key names, not just a vague request for structure. That means you can plug the output straight into another tool. No cleanup required. Final letter in craft. T, tone often controls the personality of the output. Specifying a tone like professional but approachable can help the AI avoid robotic phrasing and make the text sound more natural and audience appropriate. Compare these 2 prompts. Write a blog post about AI. That's what most beginners type. The AI guesses what you want and spits out generic, SEO-style filler. Now look at a structured version. Write a 500-word blog post for IT beginners explaining prompt engineering using a friendly tone and 1 analogy. The second prompt bakes in length, audience, tone, and the analogy requirement. And by the way, Markdown is a simple formatting language that uses symbols like asterisks and hashes to create headings, lists, and tables, When you ask for a markdown table, you're telling the AI to produce a table that can be easily displayed on websites or in documents. Vagueness is the fastest way to get mediocre results. Let's lock it in. Which craft element would you use to ensure the AI outputs a table instead of paragraphs? It's format. Adding a line like, "Return a markdown table with these columns," flips the output from prose to structured data instantly. Imagine a healthcare startup losing a major partnership because AI-generated patient summaries missed a critical drug interaction. The AI wasn't broken. The prompt was. A vague prompt gave a generic medical summary. A structured one would have flagged the interaction risk. That's the difference. One prompt costs credibility, the other protects patients. And in 2026, enterprises are paying top dollar for people who can craft the second kind. Let's talk careers. You may have seen headlines about six-figure prompt engineering jobs. While a handful of dedicated prompt engineer positions do exist, that's not where most opportunities are today. Instead, prompt engineering has become a highly valued skill inside many existing roles. AI product managers use prompts to design AI-powered features. Software developers integrate prompts into enterprise applications. Business analysts automate reporting and document analysis. Marketing teams generate content at scale. Customer support teams build AI assistants. Cloud architects design AI workflows. Cybersecurity professionals investigate incidents faster with AI. The common thread isn't the job title. It's the ability to communicate effectively with AI systems. In today's market, prompt engineering isn't replacing your career. It's becoming part of nearly every modern knowledge worker role. That's why learning this skill today gives you an advantage no matter which IT path you choose. Prompt engineering skills embed into several high-impact roles. AI Product Manager bridges business goals and AI capabilities, crafting prompts that shape product features. AI Solutions Consultant designs prompt strategies for enterprise clients. Conversational AI Designer fine-tunes the personality and accuracy of chatbots. And freelance consultants help small businesses implement AI with hands-on prompt work. The common thread? You don't need to be an engineer. You need to understand intent and structure. Let's kill the biggest myth right now. You don't need to write code to be a prompt engineer. This job is about communication. The core skill is translating human goals into clear, structured instructions. Understanding APIs and JSON helps if you're automating prompts in production, but most business users start with zero code, just a text box and the craft framework. The AI does the heavy lifting. You direct. Quick career check. What's the typical salary range for someone just starting in prompt engineering in 2026? Pause if you need to recall. It's between $90,000 and $125,000 per year. Once you've shipped a few projects, mid-level roles jump to $130,000 to $175,000. Not bad for a skill that requires zero coding to begin. Watch what happens when a vague prompt turns into a precise assignment. First, type, "Tell me about cloud security." The AI gives a bland, generic paragraph. Then, add context. You are a cloud security architect at a fintech company. The output sharpens. Next, assign a role. Act as a senior compliance officer. The depth and terminology change. Finally, specify the format. Return as a numbered list with one-sentence explanations. Suddenly, you have an actionable, structured answer. That's prompt engineering in real time. Iterative, not one-shot magic. Prompt engineering shapes the input you give an already trained model. Fine-tuning retrains the model itself on new data. One costs you a few minutes and $0. The other requires GPUs, graphics processing units, specialized hardware for training AI, labeled datasets, and serious machine learning expertise. For most business tasks, writing emails, summarizing regulations, generating marketing copy, prompt engineering is immediate, free, and already sufficient. Don't over-engineer the solution. Here's a side-by-side that'll change how you see AI. On the left, the casual prompter types hazy one-liners, gets back bland walls of text, and spends 30 minutes polishing AI slop. On the right, a prompt engineer using the craft framework. Same task, totally different result. The engineer tests variations, checks accuracy across models, and turns a 2-hour writing session into 4 focused minutes. Same tools, same models. The only difference is in how you ask. That's the skill that pays. In 2026, you're not just prompting one model, you're talking to an entire ecosystem. GPT-4 from OpenAI, Claude from Anthropic, Google's Gemini, Meta's Llama, Mistral, and many others, each one has been trained on different data. Each one has its own quirks. The same prompt can produce noticeably different outputs across models. Some may be more detailed, others more cautious, depending on their training and design choices. Prompt engineering means learning how each of these models listens, then tailoring your language accordingly. Treat prompts like you're communicating with a room full of brilliant but very different interns. You wouldn't give the same assignment to all of them word for word. Here's something most beginner tutorials never mention. Professional prompt engineers don't write a prompt once and call it finished. They treat prompts exactly like software. First, they define the business problem. Next, they design the initial prompt. Then they test it using realistic examples. After that, they evaluate the quality of the results. If something isn't working, they refine the wording, add constraints, or adjust the format. Once the prompt consistently produces high-quality output, it's version-controlled and deployed into production. Even then, the work isn't over. Teams continue monitoring performance and improving prompts as business requirements change. In large organizations, prompt engineering is an ongoing engineering process, not a one-time conversation with ChatGPT. Here's another difference between beginners and professionals. Beginners ask, "Did I get a good answer?" Professionals ask, "Can I get the same high-quality answer every time?" Enterprise teams evaluate prompts using measurable criteria: accuracy, consistency, completeness, latency, or how quickly the response is generated, cost, and perhaps most importantly, hallucination rate. How often the model confidently produces incorrect information. A prompt that works once isn't enough. A production-ready prompt should work hundreds or even thousands of times with predictable results. That's what separates experimentation from engineering. Why might the same prompt produce different outputs on different AI models? It's because each model has unique training data and behavior patterns. Prompt engineers test and adapt until the output matches the need. Prompt engineering is never a one-shot wonder. Here's the real workflow that separates pros from hopefuls. Step 1. Pause and deeply analyze the task. Don't just assume you know what the model needs. Step 2. Draft a prompt using all 5 craft elements. Step 3. Actually test it, hit send, and look at what comes back. Step 4. Evaluate ruthlessly. Is it accurate, structured, skimmable? And Step 5. Refine, tweak a single word, adjust tone, add a constraint, then test again. This loop of analyze, draft, test, evaluate, and refine turns a flaky prompt into a reliable piece of your workflow. Start treating prompts like code, not chat. Most people open ChatGPT and immediately start typing. Professional prompt engineers do something different. Before writing a single word, they pause and ask 5 simple questions. What is the goal? Who is the audience? What information does the AI need? What should the final output look like? What constraints or requirements must be followed? Only after answering those questions do they begin writing the prompt. This simple habit dramatically improves output quality because the prompt is built around a clearly defined objective instead of vague ideas. The prompt isn't the first step. Thinking is. Let's finish with 3 ideas I hope you'll remember long after this video ends. First, prompt engineering isn't about clever tricks or secret phrases. It's about giving AI clear, structured assignments using context, role, action, format, and tone. Second, prompt engineering is becoming a foundational skill across IT. Not because companies are hiring armies of prompt engineers, but because nearly every AI-powered role now depends on communicating effectively with language models. Third, great prompt engineers never stop improving. They test, they measure, they refine, and they continuously optimize their prompts just like developers improve software. For today's challenge, take one prompt you use every week, whether it's writing an email, summarizing a meeting, or explaining a technical topic. Rewrite it using the craft framework. Compare the results. You'll quickly discover that a small change in the prompt can produce a dramatically better answer. And in the next lesson, we'll build on that foundation by exploring zero-shot, one-shot, and few-shot prompting, the first advanced techniques used by AI professionals every day. In the next video, you'll add 2 powerful techniques to your craft toolkit: zero-shot prompting, where you give the AI no examples and trust the instructions alone, and few-shot prompting, where you include a few examples, typically 2 or more, to guide the model toward the right output format and style. Combined with craft, these can dramatically boost your output accuracy. These are the tricks that separate casual users from the engineers drawing 6-figure salaries. Part 2 drops next week. Don't miss it. Before you close this tab, actually do the thing. Open ChatGPT, Claude, whatever you use. Find that prompt you've been typing lazily every day. Summarize this, or write a cold email, and rebuild it using context, role, action, format, and tone. Paste your before and after in the comments. I read those. And if you want the full Masterclass playlist, that subscribe button is right there. See you in the next one. Remember, careers aren't built by watching videos, they're built by applying what you learn. Pick one thing from today's lesson, build it, document it, and share it. That's how you get hired. Thanks for watching Hired in IT, where we're turning IT knowledge into career opportunities.